We set out to produce a series of films on people in India, how they work and live, their achievements and failures, their attitudes, beliefs, their dreams. But where were we to begin? How were we going to select one person from a population of over 500 million? So we tossed a coin, and it took us to the Mayurbhanj area of Orissa, near the village of Nadpur. And the first person to draw our attention, we followed. Ananda Karan was born and brought up in Nadpur village, where he married Asha some 54 years ago. Here he raised his children, and here he lives at the age of 67 in a manner which has hardly changed with time. 3 grandchildren and a niece stay with him to attend a well-run school at Nadpur. The eldest granddaughter is 16 and she helps in household chores. Ananda's aunt Oriya, a widow for over 40 years, lost her only child when she was just a girl. Since then, she turned to Ananda, willed all her worldly belongings to him, and came to live in his house. It seems Ananda's house has never been without children. Now his grandchildren fill the gap left when his 6 children grew up and went away. Ananda is a farmer. On 5 acres of land, he grows paddy during the rains, and the rains have not failed him yet. He has no other means of irrigation, nor does he believe in artificial fertilizers. Only farmyard manure, and only the tried and trusted methods. Ananda has always worked, first in his father's fields, and then in his own. Looking at the labor he has to employ now due to his age reminds him of his youth when he worked behind his father. But there is one job he always does himself, sowing. At the insistence of one of his sons, he finally agreed to use improved seeds and was surprised to find his yields increase. Homage paid to the sacred Tulsi plant is homage to the giver of good health, the symbol of purity. Its fragrance pervades the atmosphere and protects the inmates of the house. Ananda's life is rooted in the scriptures. Lead us to well-being by the right path. So prays Ananda twice a day. On his father's death, Ananda gave up his share in the family property to his brothers and left the joint family. Asha had brought him a dowry of 40 rupees. With this and a primary school education, he became a small cloth merchant. But again, the land drew him. Gradually, he acquired 8 acres of land, land which was his own, and went back to farming. The years were fruitful. Ananda's first child and only daughter is Rama, married to Purnachandra Senapati, a farmer at nearby Nuagaon village. Two of her eldest daughters stay with Ananda and go to the school at Nadpur. 7 kilometers away from Nadpur, outside the courthouse at Betnoti, Ananda's eldest son, Jagannath, makes a living as a petition writer. But it's not just writing. He has to gather facts and present them in a favorable manner. He lives with his wife at Betnoti in a house he owns. With an income of 3,000 rupees a year, he provides for his 5 children. Their 6th child died of drowning a few years ago. With considerable sacrifice on their part, Ananda and the family encouraged their second son, who was good at studies, to graduate as a mechanical engineer. Jadunath, at 36, is the Deputy Chief Engineer, Steam Turbines, at the Bharat Heavy Electricals Hardwar. He speaks fluent Russian, having been trained in Russia for 2 years. At 15,000 rupees a year, his wife and 2 children enjoy luxuries that he never had as a child. In a way, Jadunath has moved beyond Ananda's reach. In Ananda's time, infant mortality was high. His 4th child was cremated on these grounds, and his 6th child lies buried in this very earth. And then, Ananda's house was set on fire by some unknown persons for reasons Ananda does not wish to disclose. What did you do, Ananda? Nothing. If I had a telephone, I would have called the fire engine. The nearest fire brigade is miles away. No telephone, no electricity. So Ananda had to build his house all over again. It has a large central courtyard to which all rooms open, including the 2 cattle sheds with 2 cows, 2 calves, 1 goat and 5 bulls. There are 2 guest rooms, and Asha, now 61, sleeps in the room next to the large grain storage bin, where Ananda stores rice for household use. And on the other side sleep the grandchildren. There is the kitchen, and Oriya, now ailing and 71, enjoys the luxury of a room all her own. Ananda sleeps next to the prayer room. Ananda has never been to a cinema, nor does he care. His only entertainment is a little gossip in Oriya, the one language he knows, and cards with his friends. Dwarkanath Mohanty, a retired peon from Baripada. Ramchandra Sahu, a school teacher at Nadpur. Ketraman Sahu, a farmer, also of Nadpur. Raghunath Misro is a very busy man. Like the others, Ananda pays him 100 rupees a year to pray for him twice a day. As custodians of the temples, advisors to kings, scholars, teachers, administrators, the Brahmins of ancient India were at the head of the centuries-old caste system. In present-day India, they still retain a part of their status. And so, as a Brahmin priest, Raghunath prays inside the prayer room. Ananda can, but does not. As a Brahmin priest, Raghunath can touch the deity. Ananda cannot, for Ananda is not a Brahmin. Ananda has never ventured out of Nadpur, except on a few pilgrimages to the temple at Puri. Ananda is a Vaishya of the merchant caste and deeply religious. To him, Puri is one of the holiest of places. This is where he spends a small fortune, for at Puri, the gods reside. Between two deaths, one son survived. Jogeshwar Karan became a clerk in the Indian Railways at Khurda Junction, earning 3,000 rupees a year. When one of his 5 children died in infancy, he turned to medicine and became a qualified homeopath and began to serve the community in his spare time. But that was not enough. Jogeshwar Karan became a worker teacher in labor management, subscribes articles to journals, became secretary of the canteen committee, office bearer of the trade union. Jogeshwar too has moved beyond Ananda's world. Vijayanand came after Jogeshwar and joined the Indian Army as a Havildar clerk in 1959. After every spell of duty somewhere in India, Vijay returns home, for as a bachelor at 26, Nadpur is the only home he knows. The village of Nadpur lies 4 kilometers from National Highway number 5 between Baripada and Balasore. On the outskirts of the village, in the labor colonies, live a free and happy people, the Santals. They own very little, and what they earn as daily labor in the fields and from their craft, they spend in the pursuit of happiness. Village customs have hardly changed over the centuries. Half a century ago, the palanquin carrying Ananda, aged 13, and Asha, aged 7, on their marriage day, would have looked no different from this marriage procession. Nadpur has a primary school, and Ananda's passion for education helped to see a secondary school built some years ago. There is a Shiva temple, and the rest of Nadpur is like thousands of other villages all over India. Vijayanand and Rama are the only two among their children who visit their parents as often as they can. Their visits are the only times when there is some joy in the house. Rama's 6 children, Jogeshwar's 2 and their niece, play soldiers whenever they see Vijay, for he has been their hero ever since he joined the armed forces. To Ananda and Asha, these are their happiest moments. Each time Vijay comes home, there is joy in the family. And each time, it ends with the same old argument. You are 28, Vijay, and still not married. But Vijay has his own problems. He cannot afford to marry, for out of the 200 rupees he earns a month, 50 goes to Ananda, and the other 50 to his younger brother Janakeshwar, who is studying at Cuttack to become a sanitary inspector. He stays with his elder brother Jogeshwar at nearby Khurda Junction. On 3 of the 8 acres Ananda owns, he grows 2 crops of sawai grass a year. This is a cash crop, requiring very little care, and is used in the rope industry. To the Santal labor that Ananda employs, he pays 1.5 rupees a day with breakfast, and a yearly bonus of 100 rupees in cash or grain per person. After all this, Ananda manages to earn between 3,000 and 4,000 rupees a year. The village panchayat meets often. Once Ananda took an active part. Now he leaves the management to others, younger men. Let us interrupt them for a minute. Ananda, has your life improved after independence? Yes. In what way? In those days, I would not dare to approach an official. Nowadays, it is very easy. And what do you feel about giving education to women? Education helps a woman to bring up her children properly. I am sending all my granddaughters to school. For whom did you vote in the 1967 elections, Ananda? I understand. Secret ballot. All right. Can you tell me why the Swatantra Party won in Orissa? May I speak? Yes, Mr. Sahu. Mayurbhanj area of Orissa was ruled by benevolent kings for centuries, and people were happy. When independence came, they expected miracles to happen and were naturally disappointed. So the people have swung to another party. But whether they can do anything more for us remains to be seen. There are some questions we could not ask you in front of the others, Ananda. Have you any regrets in life? Once, yes, but not anymore. I'm old and my thoughts turn to God. And Ananda, what happens to us when all is done? For a time, the soul rests and enjoys the happiness and bliss it earned in this life. Then, rebirth. And if there is life after death, Ananda, what would you wish for yourself? I hope to be born a Brahmin. Ananda is an honest man, a deeply religious man, brought up in the traditions of the land. His faith in the old order is unshakable, yet he gives his children freedom to live in their own way. The house Ananda built is a strong house. The seeds he has sown are good seeds. In a changing India, the Anandas are slowly disappearing. And with them, they will take a way of life that India has known for centuries. Bless you, Ananda, and thank you.